What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our PTL Season 1 Division 3 recap. We had quite the season, very long season, 15 weeks, and unfortunately, we fell just short of playoffs. I'll talk about that when we get to the end of the season, but sorry, the end of this video. When we get to the end of the season, realistically, end of the video. I was quite sad that we missed playoffs. I thought we played well enough to make playoffs, but unfortunately the way that the playoff structure worked, we just barely missed out on it, and I'm a little bit sad about that, but at the same time, happy with how I performed this season. It was one of my more successful seasons against good competition as well. Yeah, definitely wish I could have changed a couple things up there, here and there, but was a solid season, and I don't regret participating by any means. So, if you've seen any of my other season recaps, you'll know how the format goes. So I'll start off with the draft recap, talk about the team, what I liked, what I didn't. Oh, I forgot a document. Let me pull that up really quickly, and then I'll just... God, I caught that, actually. And we'll just sort of go from there as I go through the doc, and then we'll go through each match one by one, sort of talk about the sets I brought a little bit, maybe recap the game, and then I'll get to the kill leaders and stack up where they are in terms of my compiled statistics. So that's all really fun, and let's get right into things here. Oh, music, talk about the music. This is my favorite female vocal dubstep playlist, so I'll link it down in the description. I have no idea if this video is going to get taken down because of this. I don't know if it's probably copyright infringement, honestly, but honestly, like, this dubstep remix probably should have been taken down ages ago otherwise then. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess they credit, like, all of it licensed to YouTube, but only some of them are licensed to YouTube, so I have no idea. I'm just gonna roll with it, and I will link the playlist down in the description. And again, I don't own any of this music, so please don't sue me. Anyways, that's that. Let's get into things here. So first pick, I picked Megalodios. Did not regret that. Megalodios performed very admirably this season. It came to quite a few games as well, and we'll get to that when we get into the discussion there. Whew. I think it was like 13th pick or something, and I was really... I somewhat regret taking this just because of what was taken afterwards. Both of the Landos were still there, and I could have taken either one. Lando Sheer Force plus Megalodios was going to be my strategy, and didn't make it to me, so instead we got Zapdos, all reliable Zapdos, plowing through our budget here really quickly with the Zapdos and the Megalodios. But it was such a huge budget, right? Like, we had a 130 point budget, so I managed to get a lot of really good stuff really early on. I picked up Mamoswine next. Mamoswine was pretty solid on the team. I'm not the best Mamoswine user, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. Over the few seasons I've had Mamoswine, I haven't really used it to its full potential, but it requires a lot of prep, so it's more of a prep pressure in my mind than an actual, you know, mon that can kill stuff, despite the fact that it has such a great way to kill things. I've just never been successful with it, and I haven't seen people be super successful with it either, mainly because of its typing. Like, it's got such a great offensive typing, but defensively it sucks. 4 picks in, and I've destroyed my budget by taking Mimikyu, but I do not regret taking Mimikyu. Mimikyu was the glue that held this team together, to be honest with you, offensively. It was so good, man. Mimikyu is just, it's my favorite Pokemon in draft format, and it really showed to me, and I think it showed the competition how comfortable I was with this team throughout the season as well. I picked up Registeel next. Very passive steel type. I really wish I would have gotten something that had more options to be offensive than Registeel, because it just can't pull it off. Excuse me. Slowking, I don't regret picking. It was kind of fun to try it out. I've used Slowbro before. It was definitely a more budget Slowbro, and it had some cool moments. I don't know, it didn't perform that well on the team as a bulky water. There were definitely other options for water types that I would have preferred. Rotom-Heat, again, same thing. I've used it many times before. At the time when I drafted it, I had drafted it a few times. I think I had it in like 3 leagues at once at the same time, and I got very bored of it very quickly. Got kind of burnt out of using Rotom-Heat, so I didn't stay on the team for that long, and I ended up getting a better fire type. I didn't need the double electric really, and this was like a steel resist, which I had in Slowking and Zapdos already, so um, definitely did not need the steel resist. A grass resist was nice though, for sure, and I think it was a ground immunity, which I already had in Zapdos, so I don't know. Excuse me. Mienshao stayed on the team for a while. It was a very reliable fighting type when I had it. Um, my speed tiers didn't appreciate having Mienshao on this team though. I didn't need Mienshao to be on the team really. Between base 110 and base 100 is kind of a waste of a pick, honestly, but it provided me a lot of good momentum, which my team was kind of lacking, and that was one of the main reasons I picked Rotom-Heat as well. Tangela was next. Tangela stayed on the team for a while. It was pretty reliable water switch in. Like, it was really reliable water resist for a long time, which I was severely lacking mainly, especially a physical resist, and it turned into a decent electric switch in. Against spawns like Tapu Koko, it performed very admirably against that. I think it, I can't remember what else it walled this season, but it did pretty decently. Oh, it was a Zygarde. It was my Zygarde answer for both Zygarde teams. God, expect a lot of yawns. Armaldo didn't come to any games. I don't know. It probably wasn't worth the pick. And that was my last pick of the draft, I believe. Oh, sorry, second last. I picked up Scrafty last. Scrafty was pretty solid. Don't regret Scrafty whatsoever. I definitely regret the Armaldo, though. I probably could have gotten something better there, although I was really taking it for the rocks to take the pressure off of Registeel and Mamoswine. A Spiker would have been great on this team, and definitely, like, a grounded poison. Again, the Nihilego snipe in the draft really kind of hurt me, and I talked about this, like, I don't know how long, 4 months ago when we drafted, but Nihilego definitely would have been a better pick on the team, and I'm really sad that I never got Nihilego. I ended up using my Z points on Mimikyu, Armaldo, Scrafty. Mimikyu used it a lot. I don't think Scrafty ever used it, even though it had a lot of really good coverage options to use it with, and Armaldo didn't see a game, so it obviously never used it. Wild, bro. Okay, so let's run through the doc here. So this was the coaches list. This changed a lot. We had a lot of drops, actually. This team was a drop, so that's 1. This team is a drop, that's 2. This team was a drop, that's 3. This team dropped, that's 4. This team dropped at least once, if not twice, that's 5, maybe 6. Let's go with 6. This team dropped, that's 7. This team dropped, that's 8. This team dropped, that's 9. This team dropped 10. So I think we had at least 10 drops this season, just in our D3, which really sucked. In terms of pricing, this is what the price sheet looked like. Aegislash was not allowed to use Z crystals. There's a lot of high value things on the draft here, and not a lot of low value stuff got taken. People kind of went for the big guns because we had such a huge budget that you could afford to do that, really. I don't know what this is. People aren't formatting this properly, but it doesn't matter now because the season's over. Draft board, this is what it looked like. All the transfers and stuff. You can see this team used all of their transactions. And then over here we got me. I was 11th pick, sorry, my apologies. I was 11th pick. Lando I actually went the pick after me, and then I was going to look at Mega Latios Clefable, but it got taken right before me, so I got Zapdos in the end. These four never changed. I believe the rest of the team actually swapped over at least once. Except for Scrafty. You can see I have 5 different members than what we just saw in the draft analysis there. I used most of my drops, or most of my pickups, sorry. 6 or the 8 total that I got. I don't regret any of these. I think a lot of these made my team a little bit better, and I ended up swapping around the Z users quite a bit as well. I think you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. Not a big deal. Playoff bracket, this is what it looks like. We did not make playoffs, but our good buddy Brett did, as well as River. We ended up losing to Brett in the regular season, and we beat River in the regular season, so it was kind of sad that I didn't get up there. But they both play D1 players. Gray is Yveltal Town, and I don't know why it's Yo Yveltal Town. It must be based off of some soccer team in the UK, but I'm pretty sure it's just YV, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. Who knows? River plays DFP, which is also D1, and then Zane, I know Zane, he plays D2 and Ethan, and this is another D1 Malachi Marowak against D2 Cleveland Bros. So, you know, both of the D3 guys on the same side of the bracket. Kind of sucks to see that, you know, neither of them can both of them can't be in the championship match, which really sucks, but they both could match up here in the next round. I think they're both capable of it for sure. We didn't really have that discrepancy between a D1, D2, and D3 necessarily this season, so the D3 teams are definitely very... Oh, you guys can't even see this. My logo is kind of hiding it there. But there's kind of a lot of discrepancy. I wonder if I can slide it. No, if I do that, it's not going to help. There wasn't a lot of discrepancy between D1 and D3 players, as you can tell based on the coaches here. We had Monatui in D3. Like, this guy's a GBA coach and a PPL coach, like a PPL D1 level coach, and he was sitting in D3 with us as a replacement coach. So we definitely had the competition level in D3, and so I expect big things from both River and Brett. I'm not gonna lie. League table, here's how it played out. We ended up just missing playoffs. As you can see, we were an 11-4 team along with Brett and River. Unfortunately, Brett had the differential and the game on us. The way that it played out is Brett had played Ange in the main Absols in the final week, and it came down to a 1-0 game where Megalopony was asleep against Ange's Garchomp. Garchomp, the Lopunny was asleep for one turn. Garchomp EQ'd, it was a 2-shot, and then Lopunny woke up and Ice Punched it and killed it. The Garchomp had blown its Yachi Berry on Thunderous T HP Ice before, because the Garchomp wasn't running max speed to outrun the Thundy T. So either two things happen: the Lopunny falls asleep for one more turn, and we make playoffs because Brett falls to 10-5, or Ange runs max speed Garchomp, keeps the Yachi Berry intact against the Thunderous, and is then able to eat the Ice Punch from the Megalopony and kill the Megalopony. So, quite the match. I was pretty depressed for a couple days after that match happened, just because it was saddening to me that that was what knocked me out of playoffs. After all the hard work that I had put in this season, I ended up winning my last 5 matches, which were very difficult matchups against the team that I ended up with at the end of the season. You know, like, no disrespect to Brett by any means. He ended up going on a 9-game tear at the end of the season, starting with his win against me. He did not lose a game after his win against me. You know, if Ange had played, like, if Ange had prepped slightly differently by actually running max speed Garchomp. I have no idea why she didn't run max speed Garchomp, by the way. I thought that that would be an obvious bringing over Thundy T. As well as, you know, maybe RNG being in her favor a little bit more, and the Lopunny being asleep for another turn, then we'd be in playoffs right now. And I wouldn't be filming this video, and I'd probably be filming my team builder for playoffs for you guys right now. But unfortunately, it didn't end up like that. And had another few things gone my way, like I lost 0-0 to J-Law this season, who got taken over by Mega Oshawott and the Indiana Hyperspacers. You know, had I won that game 0-0 instead of lost that game 0-0, we're in a different scenario as well. You know, I only lost 4 games, right? So finishing, it's sad to me that I finished 11-4 plus 20 and I can't make playoffs because only the top 2 make playoffs, and so I'm pretty disappointed just in how that sort of played out, because I think I played really well this season. Actually, I ended up beating a few of the top teams here. I beat River in the regular season, I beat Monatui in the regular season, I beat Moki in the regular season, I lost 0-0 to J-Law, it was really close. I beat Ultra Player. I know, like, I beat a lot of the top teams, and so I was pretty sad to lose out on playoffs, but you know, there's only so much you can do there. So that's sort of how that went down. In terms of trades, again, I made all these drops, but this wasn't updated very well, and I did my parts to an extent. Just couldn't pull it off, I guess. So there you go. MVP race in terms of the MVP kill leaders. Actually, we should... No, this got sorted already. Mega Lopunny was up there. Mimikyu finished 4th in terms of the MVP race. Pretty happy about that. 17 kills, not bad, not bad. Megalodios was 6th with 16. I'm very happy, very, very happy about that. Both of them played, like, I played with them very well this season, and I appreciated having all those kills. Mega Mawile kind of went off after Ultra Player took it up, picked it up, sorry, and Josh in general went ham this season after he picked it up, really. Shout outs to Josh, by the way. Josh is a cool dude. I know him from a few places now, and I'm proud to say that I beat him in our one match. Fixtures, this is what this looks like. It's pretty ugly down here. I tried formatting this as best as I could when I did. Our last loss was, let's see, we won week 11 through week 15, so I guess we lost week 10 against Ange. That was our last loss, was against Ange. And before that, we had lost 0-0 in week 8. So had we beaten Ange in that game and just won out our entire season, we would have made playoffs as well. My losses were to the Grand Prairie Greninjas. Hoop Unbound really just put in work against me, unfortunately. I lost to Brett in week 5, I lost to Jaylon week 8, and I lost to Ange in week 10. Had anything gone differently in any of those games, we're sitting in playoffs. Or if I pull some more differential out of some of these games, I'm also sitting in playoffs. So, I don't know. Only so much you can do. Only so much you can do. Yeah, I'm not sure. Actually, had Mega Oshawott played River in this game and River not got the forfeit win, we also may be sitting in playoffs if River loses that. So, there's a lot of different factors here, and that's just sort of how it ended up. We'll just go to my team page here and we'll look at my team page. I formatted this at the beginning of the season. It looks really pretty. I've got all the teams with the proper colors, the result, the differential we gained, and you can see how the cumulative differential worked up. We actually, we kept winning up to 4, and then by week 6 we were down to +0, but we ended up pulling out some bigger differential wins as we moved throughout the season, and I ended +20, which I'm pretty proud of. This is sort of how the kills laid out. I don't know how much you guys care, but lots of notes about each game and the MVP that I thought for each game. I didn't actually count this up, so maybe we'll just go through it together. So Scrafty got 1, Mimikyu got 1, Mimikyu got 2, Zapdos got 1, Mamoswine got 1, Scrafty got 1, Zapdos got 1, Mimikyu got 1, Mienshao got 1, Zapdos got 2, Mimikyu got 2, Mimikyu got 3, Darmanitan got 1, Megalodios finally got 1, Empoleon got 1, Kartana got 1, Mimikyu got 4, Zapdos got 3, and Megalodios got 2. So, I mean, I guess Mimikyu is technically our MVP this season, getting 4 MVP votes out of the 15 games. It did only come to 10, so 4 out of 10 is a pretty decent, considering Zapdos came to almost every single game and only got 3. I mean, I loved using Zapdos this season too, so don't get me wrong by any means. It was all 5 of our passive deaths. It was definitely toxic bait, and that was my biggest issue this season, I think, is that Zapdos was toxic bait, and I had no Cleric, and Registeel came to no games, essentially. Like, Registeel showed up twice. That was probably the biggest weakness on my team, is that it could get worn down by Toxic very easily, and you'll see at the end of the season here, I ended up with 2 Steel types to absorb Toxic. It was definitely, I should have had a Cleric on this team, and I didn't consider it at all. A Cleric Fairy would have been really strong here, like a Sylveon would have definitely improved how my season would have gone, I think. Not that I regret having Mimikyu by any means, but maybe a different Steel type, like grabbing Empoleon, for example, which I don't believe actually got drafted at all, and having Sylveon as well, and maybe only running with a 10-man roster the whole time would have been a little bit more efficient, but who knows, that's just sort of how it played out. Let's run through my prep doc. If you guys haven't seen my prep doc before, this is what it looks like. I have the base speeds on one side that you guys can't actually see, then their max speeds for Adamant and Jolly. Obviously this leaves at level 50, so those are different. If it's in orange, it means I didn't expect it to come. If it's in yellow, I expected it to come. If it's in green, that means it did come. I lay out all the priority. I'll just move Salam's sprite here for a sec. I lay out all the priority and the hazard removal, the 4x weaknesses. I lay out what my speed creeping is, like what it's for. So in this case, I had enough speed on Megalodios to tie Lycanroc Dusk. Mamoswine was outspeeding Modest Heatran, which hit 129, so you can tell I was running 130 speed on the Mamoswine, which is adamant. Like that, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I wasn't trying to bother outrunning Timid Tran because he had no reason to bring Timid Tran against me when Modest outsped Tangela kind of thing. Um, yeah, so that's what that is. I have the dates where this match was supposed to be played and the date and the time that I actually played this match at. So this is a very helpful document. I use this for every single league that I'm in. I have the sprites laid out, so it's just a little bit more visual for me, just to pick up on what the main threats are and sort of like visually identify what the main threats are instead of seeing it in text format. It's just easier for my brain to process that. So week 1, you can tell we played mono. We actually won this game 1-0. Very close match. I ended up hacking him out of this game. His Slowbro got crit. I believe his Clefable got crit. He didn't bring the Salamence and the Lando, which was interesting to me. I didn't like this team. He didn't draft this team. He took it over. And then he made no changes. But I didn't really like that all of his offensive mons, aka Lando, Heatran, and Salamence, were like 4 times weak to something. And then Lycanroc Dusk was just kind of there. Mono ended up pulling out a really good season with this team. He didn't make any drops. And I think it was just kind of because he was so comfortable with Clefable plus Slowbro as a defensive core. Rather than the actual offensive power of this team. He ended up bringing like a physical Lando Eye against me, which was really strange. It wasn't special, which was weird to me, and it was just kind of a weird game. So let's look through the team that I brought for that. I brought an AV Slowking with Future Sight. I think Future Sight got a crit against the Clefable, which ended up doing something. I brought a Charty Berry Zapdos for Rocky MZ Salamence. It hard-walled Salamence, and it was also there for Lycanroc Dusk. Pretty nifty set there. I brought a Scarf Rotom-Heat. The whole goal was to trick the Scarf onto the Clefable, and he didn't buy that. He didn't fall into that at all, and he didn't buy that one bit, which ended up cocking me quite a bit. Scrafty ended up living a hit from the Lycanroc. I believe it was a Drill Run late game or something, or Brick Break, sorry, late game. And Scrafty ended up living a hit, and Drain Punch, I got a high roll Drain Punch and did a lot of damage to it. Mamoswine put in a lot of work, and then Megalodios I think cleaned up with Psychics at the end. I didn't really have a lot for the Mega Venusaur realistically on my team. It was kind of like Air Cutter Zapdos, which I didn't bring, and Psychic Megalodios, which put in the work for sure, because I believe he brought more of a physically defensive Mega Venusaur anyways, to wall things. Like, my team is very physically biased at this stage with the Mimikyu and things like that. So that was a pretty solid game. Week 2 we took on Josh, or Ultra Player in the West Virginia Miniors. At the time, he still had Celesteela. Blaziken was a massive offensive threat to my team. He brought the Zydog, which was interesting. He brought a weird Zydog set, which was like sub-toxic for my Tangela, and it didn't end up doing that much. And Mega Manectric ended up picking up actually a lot of kills that game. And Porygon Z was like Scarf, I think, at the end. Scarf Double Edge or something, I seem to remember. So he ended up not being able to lock himself into anything to hit my Mimikyu. I think it was Psychic or something like that. Yeah, this is an interesting game. First game, Registeel came too, so I had a defensive core, Registeel plus Tangela, and his Mega Manectric ended up breaking through it. I was pretty proud of how I played this game overall, because Z-Splash Mimikyu is like my favorite set to bring, and it ended up sweeping at the end. Picked up a lot of kills against him, actually. Was a big problem for him to deal with. He actually had a big problem dealing with sub-Drain Punch on Mienshao as well, but I remember like just sacking it or something to the Mega Manectric. I can't remember anymore. I do remember this game was kind of back and forth, and I was a little bit shocked to win it, but that's just what ended up happening there. Week 3, we played Joey and the Los Angeles Nidokings. He took over this team for Todd and the Washington Blizzards. This one caught me off guard. It was sort of the middle of the week, and we ended up playing like the last possible day. Zero Aura was a big problem. He brought like Z Outrage, Zero Aura or something for my Megalodios. Let's see what I brought against him. So I did have the Megalodios. I brought a Calm Mindset. I didn't really enjoy setup Megalodios. Like 4 attacks Megalodios was definitely the best bring for all of my matches this season, just because it gets off a big hit and then does other things. I'm pretty sure Mimikyu ended up cleaning this game, by the way. I brought like a Whirlwind Zapdos to get the Mega Heracross out of there, sorry. Nidoqueen didn't come. Nidoqueen and Florges were like big problems for my team, and they didn't even show up. Same with Seismitoad. Snorlax was there, but I don't remember it doing that much against me, just because of Mienshao. I honestly, I can't remember a lot about this game. I know it was a 1-0, but I can't remember how I won it. Oh, is this the game where I saved my Mimikyu and Slowking Future Sight got the last kill or something, and then I had like a 3% Mimikyu alive or something like that, and I won because of that? It might have been that against the Tornadus late game. I can't remember now. Oh well. Week 4, we played River in the Roseland Rose Raids. This was a big match. Honestly, like, grand scheme of things, this match mattered a lot for the end of the season, and I was pretty proud of how I played this game as well. I kind of just brought like a Breaker Mimikyu and just sort of went off at the beginning. I brought Mimikyu MZ and I just like chipped down because his walls had no recovery. So it was very, very easy for me to just sort of break Tyranitar early, and then I broke through Tapu Fini very early as well. He brought like a no attack Halucha, and I remember this game came down to that because it was Mamoswine versus Halucha late game, and I wasn't gonna live high jump kick from Adamant, and he ended up being like no attack, very bulky Halucha, and I got an Icicle Crash hit on him with Life Orb, and I killed him. This Scrafty set didn't put in as much work as I thought it was going to, because it looked like it was going to be able to blow through him. He didn't bring either Ultra Beast against me, which I thought was very strange, because I actually do think that the combo of Nihilego Kartana is very threatening, and I would 100% draft that in the future. I've seen it 3 times now. River drafted it here, Evan had it in red, and Jamesy has it in NCL, and it's very threatening. Both of them complement each other reasonably well, just because Nihilego can deal with the fire types that Kartana doesn't like, and Kartana deals with the ground types that Nihilego doesn't like, so they kind of cover each other's 4 times weaknesses offensively, and I thought that was really cool. What else about this game? Zygarde didn't come. I think I brought Tangela just for the Zygarde. He probably expected that. Galvantula, oh, he Scarf Chandelure had no switch-ins on my team. Ended up having to sack some stuff, and Scrafty was like my biggest threat to the Chandelure, but he ended up breaking through Scrafty, so I seem to remember not dealing with that very well. I also seem to remember Megalodios not dealing with his team very well. I remember just having to sack it or something. Fuck. This isn't coming back to me. Like, this was way back in September. It's December the 5th as I'm recording this, by the way, and this is like 3 months ago that I played this match, so I just don't remember much, but I was trying to recap everything as best I can. Yeah, I just brought like a 4 attack Mimikyu with Mimikyu MZ, Wood Hammer, Shadow Sneak, Drain Punch. I mean, I think Mimikyu ended up picking off the Chandelure, if I remember correctly. Ended up actually doing it, which was clutch. Just I kept it in the back or something, just as a check to the Chandelure if it got out of hand, because I know it was Scarf. Week 5 we played Brett. We didn't prep very well for the Megalopony Kieran Black combo, but then again, who does? I guess. I don't know. Registeel seemed like it was kind of a waste of space this game. At this point, I had dropped something for I dropped Armaldo for Wishy-Washy at this point, and Wishy-Washy made its debut as a spec set. I think it got a kill, actually. I want to say it got a kill. I had to sack to the Thunderous because his team is just very pivot heavy, and it didn't work out well for Wishy-Washy, unfortunately, this game. AV Mamoswine didn't put in enough work. DD Megalodios got shut down by the Klefki, unfortunately. Like, he brought the Klefki, and I couldn't sweep him. Otherwise, DD Megalodios could have done some good work. I didn't have much I could set up on, but it was definitely a solid bring. Scarf Mienshao ended up... I had to click high jump kick. He should have 3-0'd me, but he 2-0'd me because I made a good read that he was going to swap out of Blacephalon on my knockoff in quotations, and I clicked high jump kick, and I think I picked off the Megalopony at the end of the game, or the Kieran Black or something at the end of the game with the high jump kick prediction, but then he could just go back into Blacephalon and he killed me. I was okay with that because picking off the differential was really important. Oh, this Amnesia S-Toss block Registeel set was kind of neat, but it didn't end up doing anything. I seem to remember just sacking it to the Thunderous, even though it was a Spit F set. Because he just U-turned out or something. Week 6, I took on the Grand Prairie Greninjas and Greninja. He brought whack stuff, man. I didn't understand this game at all. Oh, at this point I had dropped Rotom-Heat. This was the game I had dropped Rotom-Heat for Darmanitan. So Darmanitan was finally on the team and I brought it. It was a big threat, massive offensive threat to his team. Really huge offensive threat to his team. I was really anticipating the Jellicent to come over one of his offensive bonds that he brought because Darmanitan just wrecked him. It absolutely destroyed him, and he got a Prankster T-Wave off with his Thunderous Incarnate on my Darmanitan, and the game was kind of over after that point. Because while I did break through his team really well with this Darmanitan set, and the combination of Darmanitan plus Mienshao broke him very easily. His physical Hoop on Bound was really hard to deal with, and I just couldn't make it work, unfortunately. Mega Scissor ended up being a problem too, I think, because I didn't have enough fire coverage. At one point I pussied out with the Mega Latios, and I clicked Psychic on it instead of Hidden Power Fire, but eventually I caught it off guard. Hippowdon was really hard to break through with this team, especially with Wishy-Washy getting worn down like it did, and Hoopa just swept, I think. He brought like a Sub-Roost Toxic Kyurem, which was really annoying, and it ended up Toxicking my Zapdos and wearing it down. Fuck, you guys can't see this, god damn it. Is there a way for me to just, like... This is so annoying. There. Hopefully that's better. It's actually really annoying that you guys can't see that. I've probably just gone through like 5 teams and you guys can't even see it, which is so stupid. Ugh, I want a layout for these videos, so... I don't know. Week 7, we played Hacker, the Minnesota Victinis. I expected to get blown out of this match, and I absolutely destroyed him. I wiped the floor with him. This wasn't even a close match at all. Darmanitan fucked him up, honestly, and so did Mega Latios, and so did Z-Splash Mimikyu. Z-Splash Mimikyu cleaned for me this game. He didn't bring the Mega Audino, which was a big issue for my team. He didn't bring the Manaphy, which was a big issue for my team. I incorrectly had Kricketune on here. He dropped it for Dupiter, which was a lot easier. And I randomly brought Taunt Scrafty because I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know what my last move's going to be, but I was faster than Dupiter and I could stop it getting up webs, which was really clutch for Darmanitan to clean. I enjoyed this game a lot, and it was probably one of my better games in my comeback, per se, because I did end up losing like 3 out of 4 games here as we head into week 8, and I lost 0-0 to J-Law. I started off 4-0, and then I lost 3 games out of 4, and I think I was 4-4 at this point. No. Sorry. I would have been 5-3 after this week 8 game, which was really disappointing considering how I started out my season. I honestly thought a lot of stuff could come. He brought this whack-ass Wish Kangaskhan, which ended up walling some stuff. It's like Wish Protect, but Mienshao broke it still, so it was really weird. And the fact that he got to pick up Zeraora, I was really pissed that Zeraora kind of changed hands and I had to play Zeraora twice. It was really annoying and really obnoxious. No Bulu, which was strange, and no Volcarona, which I overprepped for against J-Law here. AV Wishy-Washy didn't put in nearly as much work as I thought because it was my main Volcarona answer, and it didn't come. I brought Rindoberry Mamoswine, which was completely worthless because no Bulu came and no Volcarona came. Mimikyu MZ Mimikyu picked up a kill on like Mega Latios or something, or Alolan Muck, I don't know. Like Kangaskhan was just impossible to break. I don't remember how this even ended 0-0. I remember he didn't Mega Evolve with the Mega Latios, and I got like a Shadow Claw off on it. Into Shadow Sneak, I think, that killed it. Or chipped it enough for it to kill itself or something. Or chipped it enough for me to kill it with Ice Shard with Memo or something. I don't remember. Oh, no, I don't know what it was. I had to click U-turn with Mienshao or something. And he ended up dying to Life Orb Recoil somewhere because I had to lock myself into U-turn to kill... Oh, it was the Zeraora. Yeah, he was Zeraora. He was Zeraora, and I was Scarf U-turn, and he had to take Life Orb Recoil. I don't remember anymore. God damn, I really wish I had better memory. My memory is really bad, by the way. Like, it's not just this, it's everything. Week 9, we took on the Andrew Absols. I had watched some of his replays. This was the freest 6-0 of my life. I am an expert at playing stall and breaking stall, especially with Belly Drum Darmanitan. Darmanitan picked up like 4 kills this game. I've used this set so many times successfully now, and it put in so much work. All I had to do was bait the Aromatisse in, because then I could set up on it with Darmanitan. It was a free game. He tried Toxicking me, like, honestly, like, just watching some of his replays, again, this was the freest 6-0 I've seen in my entire life. He brought the same team that he'd always brought. It was like this weird defensive Combine Mega Absol. He said he was Yachi Berry Landorus Therian. I still don't believe that, by the way. There's no way he was Yachi Berry Landorus Therian. It died to my HP Ice from my my offensive Zapdos. Like, I have a 0% chance that was a Yachi Berry Lando and that it just didn't pop. I don't believe that one bit. There's no way you're Yachi Berry. If you're watching this, I 100% do not believe you're Yachi Berry at all. Again, easiest 6-0 of my life. This was just differential farm at this point. He ended up. I mean, we can look at the league table. You'll see his record here is 2-13, -45. Yeah, very, very poor season for him, honestly. Um, week 10, we took on Ange, and again, this was my last loss of the season. I ended up winning out the last 5 weeks, which I was very proud of. Um, this was a very difficult matchup because it was sort of offense against somewhat offense, which wasn't working for me. And I made some drops after this week, which ended up helping out a lot as we got to the end of the season. Mega Glade bopped me. I got a crit on something. I can't remember what it got the crit on, but I thought the crit mattered. It probably didn't matter. Um, it kind of just cleaned my team. Honestly, Mega Glade just cleaned my team. I over prepped for a lot of stuff. Pelipper was a lot bulkier than I anticipated, and Zapdos got weakened. Um, couldn't put in the work that I needed it to against the Pelipper. And I brought this whack-ass Trick Room Mimikyu, and I tried setting up Trick Room and a Swords Dance, and I got burnt with the Mimikyu, which was really bad. Banded Wishy-Washy almost picked up some kills at the end of this game for me under Trick Room. I thought that was going to be my strategy, because she sort of had a lot of good speed on me, and then had the rain aspect, but didn't even bring Kingdra, so I brought like a Trick Room strat just because I could. That was like the secondary aspect to my team. This was the one game I ever brought Trick Room. My Pasha Berry Mamoswine didn't do enough either. I don't know. Colberberry Slowking kind of just died for free, so it's a very weird game. And oh, I know what it was. She had X-Scissor on the Gallade instead of Knockoff, and it ended up beating my Slowking. I understand why, because Megalodios obviously is a lot weaker to X-Scissor, and Tangela is weaker to X-Scissor, so it definitely made a lot of sense, and I didn't even consider it in prep. Week 11, we picked up a win over Moki in the Golden City Gardevoirs. Huge win here. Moki was first in the league at the time, and we just absolutely destroyed him. I brought a really cool Empoleon set with safety goggles. I got a freeze on his Amoonguss. I ended up winning with double Scarfers. Darmanitan blew through him, and Tangela ended up walling the Azumarill. I brought like a nature power set for Thunderbolt against the Azumarill in a 1v1 as well, potentially. It might have been a little bit stronger than Sludge Bomb. Thunderbolt also would have been stronger against the a Silvally Water or a Silvally Flying. And a Murkrow, I think. So, this is cool tech. But this was my Spore Switch in. This was my Spore Switch in. Excuse me. And Darmanitan and Mamoswine cleaned. No Megacham, which was very strange. Incineroar was the biggest problem for my team, but I wore it down with rocks and stuff, and it didn't do anything. So there you go. Week 12, we played Yubby in the Boston Red Sky. This is the first time I played him. I beat him twice now. He brought this physical. Oh, is this the point? Okay, so at this point I had dropped. Let's go back to week 10, right? We had Slowking and Registeel on the team. I dropped them for Azelf and Empoleon. And then in week 12, I dropped Wishy-Washy and Tangela and Mienshao, and I picked up Kartana and Malamar. So River ended up dropping Kartana, and I picked it up. It was a big offensive threat on the team late in the season. Malamar was kind of just really cool. It was another neat Z user on the team, and I could just boost with superpower and things like that. I liked this match a lot. He brought physically defensive Charizard X to check Kartana, and I ended up putting myself in a spot where Sacred Sword Scarf Kartana could clean, and it did. It did clean. Tangaberry Malamar did nothing. I had 0 Spextra Bombi switch-ins, and that was a problem to deal with. I ended up having to Psycho Cut it because I didn't bring Smart Strike either. It was a really risky game, but I ended up pulling it out, which I really enjoyed. I enjoyed that game a lot, actually. No Excadrill, or sorry, the Sand aspect to his team was kind of nifty, but Excadrill ended up just dying to Sacred Sword, and it couldn't kill me, so yeah, good game there. Week 13, we played Gremlin in the Southland Stoutlands against another rain team, very threatening team. This was a really tight game, and it came down to something. I can't remember what it was. Spec Zapdos put in a lot of work. Again, I bought another Pasha Berry Mamoswine. Scarf Azelf ended up outspeeding. Well, it should have outsped Mega Swampert and Rain. This game came down to Woodhammer Mimikyu at the end of the game there. It was like Politoed and Mega Swampert against Mimikyu plus Scrafty or something, or Mimikyu plus Megalodios, and I ended up just having to make a sack, and I played correctly, and I got the Woodhammer off. We won this game 1-0. It was a really close game. Manabuzz was really low. or Manabuzz was a big problem, so Mimikyu and Z Player Off ended up dealing with that pretty well. And I brought this strange double status, double attacking Adamant Mimikyu. Um, Put in a lot of work. I should have run more speed on this Mamoswine. He ended up speed creeping my Mamoswine with the Manabuzz and the Gudra. And they both got hits off, and it was a big problem because Mamoswine got weakened very early and died. And Mamoswine was one of my ways with Freeze Dry to deal with the Mega Swampert. Freeze Dry Pasture Berry should have been able to let me handle the Swampert barely, or at least get a big hit off on it, and then it's a lot less of a threat. Or get a big freeze dry off on the Politoed or Earthquake Hit or something, and then deal with it that way. But I didn't end up playing it that well, and so that was a big issue. Kartana would have been shut down by this Manabuzz, but it had an alright matchup. Honestly, on paper, Kartana looked really good, but Tornadus Incarnate was an issue for it. So was Gudra, so was Manabuzz, and I'm glad I didn't bring it, essentially. Week 14, we played what was supposed to be Polymac, but we played Obo in the Houston Laxes, and the one game that Obo played, he ended up FFing his last match. Aegislash was a big threat. This is Aegislash with King Shield. It went first overall in the draft, and we dealt with it accordingly. I believe I brought like a Life Orb Zapdos, or sorry, just an offensive Zapdos, and I T-waved a bunch of his team. I dealt with the Mega Tyranitar well, dealt with the Togekiss well. No Latias, no Suicune, no Blissey, which was really good because he had no ways to deal with that. Breloom, I ended up T-waving then Heat waving or something. I caught it on a switch with a Heat Wave or something like that. I brought Protective Pads Kartana for King's Shield Aegislash and for Flame Body Talonflame, which actually did come. Well, Talonflame came at the very least. And Z-Splash Mimikyu cleaned this game once again. No surprises there. Malamar ended up being less of a threat than I wanted it to be, but it was there. And then last week we played Titty Vicious in the Quebec Beartiques. He brought the Mega Gyarados, which I ended up crippling with Static from Zapdos that game, which was really clutch because this Sash Azelf didn't do anything. I set up a Nasty Plot on a free switch in for him into like Whimsicott or something along those lines. I can't remember. Volcanion maybe? But I remember Megalodios ended up cleaning up this game with Psychic. It was pretty clutch there. Kartana picked up some kills early game, I think, or Kartana maybe cleaned with the Weezing Dead. Kartana was in a position to sweep, I know that for sure. Banded Mimikyu didn't do that much at all, really. It really didn't. He brought like a weird defensive Jirachi. Avian and Polion ended up eating hits from the Mega Gyarados, and Earthquake did a lot back, actually. It ended up killing the Mega Gyarados, I think. And that is sort of how that game played out. So, with all of those out of the way, let's look at the kill leaders to finish off this video here. Compiled statistics. And I guess we'll look at the sort of my overall record too now while I have it on the screen here. I added this to my doc, so it's got my records in all of my leagues ever. If it's in italics, it means I've finished that league. So all the way down here is finished leagues, and then I have my current leagues right here. A couple leagues you guys probably don't know about, but I'm coming back to MWPA in the Venus division. I'm actually the commissioner of MWPA Venus. Shoutouts to KMJ for that. I'm really happy to be back, especially commissioning again as well. Obviously, you guys know NCL Season 3 is going on right now. I also have Mount Silver Season 4 going on right now. We're nearing the end of that season. SSBL Season 1, I'm currently 4-0 in. I was not expecting to be doing that well, and especially in the main league, because I applied for D-League with a meme application, and I got into the main league, and I'm kind of killing it. Nepal Season 4, I typically don't have the records in Nepal, but that's what's going on. And then I also got into Cuba Season 3 in the Dawn Division, so shoutouts to Mio for letting me into that. It's really cool. And I'm in GSA Minors Season 6, so shoutouts to Blue for that. I've been officially announced for that, so I'm pretty sure it's okay for me to talk about that. I may or may not be uploading GSA. I think I probably will upload GSA. KMJ's put together some GFX for MWPA, so I might upload MWP as well, though I'm not expecting to win games, so I'm not entirely sure how motivated I'm going to be to win that, to upload that. And then down here you guys can see my total sort of like wins and stuff. I've actually been doing decently well around the clock now. I am over 100 losses, just based on my current record in NCL, Mount Silver, Nepal combined. I've got, what was that, 6 losses between 3, 2, 1. Yeah, 6 losses between those 3 leagues. So I should be at 104, but I don't update this until the end of the season. I've played 271 total games, which is wild to me. It's quite a lot of games to have played, honestly. Um, Lots of differential, and then my win ratio is like 1.76. It's pretty good. Basically winning almost 2 times for every loss I have, which I think that's fairly successful. I can say I'm a reasonably successful draft player at this stage of my career now. Um, yeah, I win 63% of the time. I win 63% of my total games, I should say. So pretty solid. Big ups there. And then let's look at the all-time performances now. Everything highlighted in yellow is Mons that were on our team this season. So Mimikyu is obviously at the top. This is sorted by total kills. It's not working perfectly, but sorted by total kills. Mimikyu's at the top there with, sorry, it should be sorting by direct kills actually, I believe, which is why Celesteela isn't above Megalodios. But Mimikyu, Darmanitan, Megalodios up there really now. Mimikyu, unfortunately, going below 2 kills per game, but it's still very successful for me. It's also been in the most leagues for me. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leagues that I've tracked stats for it. In 45 games played, 83 kills for only 28 deaths. That's pretty wild. Big Mimikyu fan, obviously. Darmanitan's been very successful for me, actually, despite it being a very one-dimensional Pokemon. In quotations, one-dimensional Pokemon. Darmanitan's very solid. This should be Mount Silver Season 3. I didn't have this in Season 2. Wait, didn't I? Oh boy, now I gotta go back and check. No, I had Season 3, I did not have Season 2. Okay. Whoops. Let's go to UU, why not? Megalodios in there. 22 games played now, just in the 2 leagues, 33 kills. Pretty solid. Megalodios is clearly very good. Along with Magearna, I've only had them in 2 leagues each, and they're both above 30 kills, which is really solid to me. Unfortunately for Megalodios, well, actually, you know what? Both of these kind of have the same sort of thing going because they have a lot of games played, reasonably for 30-ish kills. Between the 2 leagues, between both of these, like all 3 of these leagues, I should say. Mount Silver Season 2, I played 14 games because I made semifinals and playoffs there. LET Season 1 was a 15-game season, and I made semifinals there, so potentially a 17-game season for me, depending on if Magearna came to all of them. It did not. As well as Megalodios didn't come to all of them there. PTL Season 1 was a 15-game season. Megalodios came to 13 of those games. So, sort of stands out there for you guys, I guess, in terms of the records and stuff. Megalodios only dies once every 2 games. Really solid for me. Kartana, picking it up. Kartana is very strong for me, just in the 2 leagues that I've had it in. Very big fan of Kartana. 100% I would draft all of these again. Same with Zapdos. Despite Zapdos going even for me lifetime, it's come to a lot of games. Between these 2 leagues, 26 games between 2 leagues. Again, very long leagues. D&D I played like 18 games that season. PTL I played 15, right? So Zapdos definitely a glue mon. Shout out to Ben. Mienshao I would definitely draft again as well. It hasn't been super duper successful for me, but it's a very good pivot, despite all the times I've drafted it. Mamoswine I'm not super sold on. Again, it's like 50-50 for me. It's come to quite a few games though, just between the 2 seasons I've had it in. Again, not super sold on it. Rotom-Heat, I probably would stop drafting at this point. I am definitely a big fan of the Rotom forms, but I prefer Rotom-Mow over Rotom-Heat these days. I'd rather just get a better fire type than Rotom-Heat. And I'm not a big fan of grass types, so Rotom-Mow sort of fits that bill for me where I can fill an electric and a grass together. So again, Rotom-Heat probably wouldn't draft it again necessarily. Registeel I'm kind of holding off on drafting again. Hasn't been super successful for me either. Tangela was a solid wall for me this season. Not bad, not bad. Wishy-Washy actually performed a lot better than I expected it to. Despite dying every single game it came to, I got 3 kills still. For how slow it is, I would take that. I drafted Wishy-Washy mainly because of Moonlight Swami. I was part of his front office in NPA Season 4. I'm hoping he'll be back for NPA Season 5 so I can continue to be part of his front office and help him out. I ended up, in preparation for NPA Season 4, I watched through all of his NPA Season 3 battles, and Wishy-Washy was kind of a GOAT in NPA Season 3 for him. Down here at the bottom, Scrafty actually performed very well. It didn't come to a lot of games, but I enjoyed it when I had it. Slowking, same sort of thing. I would definitely draft it again. Empoleon didn't come to a lot of games at the end of the season, but it was good. Azelf, I've drafted again in SSBL. I enjoyed using it for the brief time I had it in PTL. It wasn't offensively fantastic, but it filled the speed tier I needed in that season. Something fast than Megalodios. And then Malamar went 0-2. It didn't come to a ton of games. I would prefer not to use Malamar again, but I wouldn't say no to drafting it necessarily. And Armaldo, I probably wouldn't draft again. It didn't really have the pressure or the matchup in any of those games. I would have, I had more reliable defoggers than I had a need to spin for. If I had Nihilego on that team, I probably wouldn't even have Armaldo, so it wouldn't matter. But having T-Spikes, I'd be much more willing to have a spinner on the team. So that's going to be for me, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the PTL Season 1 recap. We will be promoting. We are going to be promoting, as you can see, we have the P here, to D2. I fully intend on committing myself to PTL Season 2 as well. There's a lot of changes going on there. It's not going to be 15 weeks. It's going to be down to 12, which is going to definitely help with a lot of the burnout, and probably one of the reasons why we had 10 people drop was burnout. So that's a big up there. Yeah, I'll be in D2. So keep an eye out for that. We will have D2 content going up. I will definitely be uploading. It's going to be better upload days than it was this season. You guys will notice probably that I was uploading team builders on Thursdays and battles on Fridays. I was very consistent with my uploading. I uploaded every single match and every single team builder on time, which I'm very proud of. I believe I was the only person to do that across all of the divisions, actually, I think as well. So pat on the back for myself for uploading everything on time and uploading actually everything as well. I know there's a few coaches who haven't done all of their uploads, or maybe just haven't plugged them all. I'm not entirely sure there. But the upload schedule, so the upload schedule is weird because we had all 3 divisions and upper management wanted them to be sort of corresponding so that you could watch D3 videos Friday, D2 videos Saturday, D1 videos Sunday. But instead, the upload date for all the divisions is going to be Sundays, which is going to help out a lot. Means that my weeks aren't going to be skewed. I basically had to do like 2 battles for PTL within a regular week that I would set out for myself, which was very strange. It was incredibly strange to have that happen. Weeks ending on a Thursday and then weeks starting on a Friday. So, especially with all the weird time zone differences. There were a lot of people in like Europe that I battled in this league, and it ended up causing a lot of headaches. And I would have to like schedule with people on a Tuesday when I normally try and schedule with people on a Friday for the week before. So either way, that's sort of how it ended up. And I was proud to be part of the PTL Season 1. I was the first coach announced on Twitter, which I'm also very proud of. And I think I performed up to my standards at the very least. I know at one point, I think before my last 5 matches, I said I would have been happy to win at least 2 of them, and I won all 5 of them. That back half of the season, I was very happy with. Very, very happy with. I enjoyed the season a lot, and I hope to come back even stronger next season. So that's going to be from me, guys. Hope you all enjoy, and I'll catch you guys for PTL Season 2.